What's up, guys? It's Bunny. I'm back again for a whole nother video. This topic that I'm gonna be talking about, I actually had to re-record it because I started talking and I went on a tangent, and then I don't want to say I went left from the topic, but I had to like re-record the video because I kind of had a topic going and then it kind of just didn't fall off from the topic, but it didn't flow with the topic at hand that I was trying to talk about. So pretty much what I'm trying to talk about in this particular video is I think it's very grimy of someone to get married for the wrong reasons. And what I mean by the wrong reasons is when you get married to somebody and you say you're going to be there through sickness and in health, but you're barely there when they're healthy, and then when they get sick, you don't want to be there. And instead of just saying you don't want to be there, you try to pass it along to somebody else and make it someone else's responsibility. And my thing is, when you get married, you take vows and you say, I'm gonna do these things because I chose to get married to you. And that's not just for a wife, that's for a husband too. And I don't understand why people get married, but then they don't understand. Either they don't understand or they don't care to understand what they're signing up for, because it's not all about being just hunky dory and having a good time. Because marriage, yeah, it's all fun and games when you first get married and everything is going smooth the way you want. But then what happens when you get hit with like a left turn and your partner gets sick? Are you really going to be there? And then that's when you really see if the person that you're with is really somebody that gives a damn about you, or they just been there just to be there. Because a lot of people, even though they won't admit it, majority of most people that get married a lot of times, not only are they not getting married for the right reasons, but they're only getting married to say that they got married and the benefits they're going to get out of if something happens to their significant other. And not that they're getting married to this person because that's their best friend. They love them. They wouldn't know what to do without them. Not for any of those reasons, or that they're going to be there for them no matter what. Not for the reasons that you should get married to somebody. And when you call someone out on that, they look at you like, well, what do you mean? I'm married to them, right? I stayed with them for such and such amount of time. And people don't understand that just because you stayed with somebody for a certain amount of time and you got to the point where you decided to get married to them or whatever you chose to do, does not mean that they love you or that they care about you. Because a lot of times people stay with people because of comfortability. To say that they're with somebody and they're not alone and they have somebody and they know that person's just going to be there. And they lose sight of the real reason as to why they wanted somebody in their life. So instead of being with someone that might be beneficial, meaning, and what I mean by beneficial is I mean actually looking out for your best interest. Because if you're with somebody just because you got comfortable with the idea that they're around, you're not really with them for the right reasons. And I think as a person, you should be honest with yourself if that's the reason why you're with somebody. I don't think you should go around saying that you're with someone because you love them and you care for them just because of the amount of time you decided to devote to them and stay with them. Because I've seen many people, I'm not going to say all, but I've seen many people be with someone for 20, 30 plus years, but they don't love each other. They just gotten accustomed to having that person around. So because they got so accustomed to that person being around, they stick around because they rather have that person than be by themselves. Because a lot of people don't know how to be by themselves. And to be totally honest with you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being by yourself. Because I feel like if you don't know how to be by yourself and love yourself and enjoy your you time by yourself and with no other people around, and you need someone there, or you need friends around, or whatever the case is, then you're really not gonna value a good relationship, because you're not gonna know how to function without that other person. And you're just gonna expect that person to just stick around because you don't know how to be by yourself. And overall, that's just not healthy, because you're not in the relationship for the right reasons. You're in the relationship to feel a need to not be alone. And I think at some point in your life, you have to experience what it's like to be alone and not have someone, whether that's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, whatever the case is. You have to know what it's like to not have someone by your side and do for yourself. Because if you don't know how to do that, when you do actually get somebody that actually wants to be there for you, you might not appreciate it, because you've never known how to be by yourself. You've never known how to function by yourself. Like, for example, I love Flash to death, but I know for a fact, based on his personality and how he is, he's a sweetheart. But I know how he is. He's not one of those type of dogs that would know how to be by himself. He would lose his mind if he didn't see a person for a certain amount of time. And I'm not even just talking about having to go to the bathroom. I'm just talking about interacting with another human being. Like, he would know how to. He would lose it. He would go crazy. And I'm not even just talking about not seeing me. I'm just talking about a human interaction in general. He wouldn't know how to be a dog. Like, he would be so focused on where a person is at to give him attention that he would go crazy. I mean, right now he's kind of. Okay, now. Oh shit, mother. Yeah, he not paying no mind to this. Yeah, he actually made a new friend today. But yeah, and it's nothing wrong with not knowing how to be by yourself to a certain extent, because everybody likes companionship. That's part of human nature. No one wants to be alone, but I have met people that know how to accept if they have to be alone and be by themselves. Like, they know how to function, they know how to deal with it, they know how to accept it, because sometimes you do hit those parts in your life where you just have to be by yourself. And right now in my life, I'm experiencing somebody that chose to get married to somebody, but now that person is sick, and instead of saying or admitting to themselves that they didn't want to be there for them, they're trying to pass it along to me. Like, it's my responsibility to have to take care of them, and you know, and it's not that I'm not concerned about the person and not willing to help out if help was needed, but they didn't even give me the courtesy, let alone the respect, to ask me if I was willing to help out, or how much could I help out, because I have my own work schedule, I have my own work responsibilities. I have to take care of Flash, I have school. I try to record videos and upload them. I'm trying to keep a consistent schedule now before I get lazy and fall off the wagon again. So, I have my own things that I want to do, that I like to do, that aren't just me going to work and paying bills. But if you're going to put this extra burden on me, that's going to hinder me doing those things. But you also didn't even give me the courtesy to decide if that's what I wanted to do. You just said, hey, you're going to do this because I only took, such and such amount of days off of work. So now this is becoming your problem. which I have a problem with that, because then if something goes wrong with whatever with the procedure that the person's gonna have, that's a serious procedure. If anything goes wrong in the midst of me trying to look out for them and make sure they're good, I'm gonna get blamed for it because I'm gonna be the one in the house with them. And I really don't want that burden or responsibility thrown on my plate because I didn't ask for it. I didn't say I do. That, you did. And I don't think that's fair. Like I said, it's not that I'm not willing to do it, because everybody deserves to have somebody take care of them or be there for them when they're sick and when they're not going to be at their best health. But I also feel like if you have a husband or you have a wife, they're the ones that they should be the first ones willing to do that for you. And if they're not, that's a problem. That says a lot about what you mean to them as a significant other, a spouse, a partner, a best friend, whatever you want to call yourself to them. That shows a lot right there. That shows you to what level you matter based on the things that they have going on in their own personal life. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think it's wrong to know that you agreed to get married to somebody, and now that they're sick, you don't want to deal with it because you're kind of viewing it like it's not your problem, it's their problem. You got sick, not me, type of attitude. And I don't think that's right. I think that's wrong. And I don't think that's fair to the person that's sick, because they didn't sign up to get sick, let alone they didn't sign up to get married to somebody that wasn't going to be there for them. So I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. And I think everybody to a certain extent, depending on what type of person you are and what you do in everyday life, everybody deserves some type of empathy to a certain extent, depending on what type of person you are. Like if you're a murderer, a rapist and all that other type of stuff, I don't know how much empathy you deserve. But you know what I mean? Like, but if you're a normal person, you're not harming nobody, you're just living your life, trying to be a good person as best as you can, everybody deserves at least a little bit of empathy. And if you can't give any empathy to not only a family member, you're not going to give empathy to a significant other. Because if you can't even do it to your own flesh and blood, what makes you think you're going to be able to do it for somebody that, yeah, you may be married to them, yeah, you may be dating them, whatever, but if you can't even do it to somebody that you should care about, that's your own flesh and blood, why would you do it to, so to speak, somebody that you're not related to, but you chose to have in your life, if that makes any sense? But I don't know how you guys feel about it. Comment down below. Reach out to my social media. You could reach out to Flash's social media. Let me know what you think. Like, do you think that it's messed up for somebody to get married to someone and not step up to what they signed up for now that they know that their significant other is sick? Like, do you think it's fair that it becomes someone else's responsibility? And if you don't think it's fair, let me know why. And if you do think it's fair, like, or you think as long as someone's taking care of that other person, let me know why you feel that way. Because I'm actually curious, because I think it's actually kind of messed up, no matter whether it's a husband doing it or a wife doing it. But let me know what you think. I'm Bunny. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Flash, you want to say goodbye? No, I guess you don't say goodbye. But don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.